Hello, my name is Donnie Dropany, and I am the head debate coach at Bora High School. This is an introduction to judging public forum debate designed to help make new and inexperienced judges a little bit more comfortable with the process of judging public forum debate. To begin, what is public forum debate? Public forum debate is a team debate with two debaters on each side arguing a single resolution. One team will take the pro position, the other will take the con position. The pro team argues in favor of the resolution, the con team argues against the resolution. The focus of each debater should be on persuading a non-expert citizen judge, such as yourself. This debate activity combines communication skills with argumentation skills in a more generalized debate. For this reason, it's a perfect beginning point into the world of debate judging. Before the round begins, there's a couple of things that you, as a judge, should do. First, when you arrive at the tournament site, please check in with the tab room. Oftentimes they'll have a sign-in sheet where judges can sign in and provide some contact information. Otherwise, it's a place where you can ask some questions about the schedule or the way that the day is going to play out. Many tournaments will have a judge meeting before rounds begin to highlight some expectations or reinforce some of the rules and ideas. This is a great time to ask questions as well, especially if you are a first-time judge. Next, we'll have ballot assignment. Ballot assignment takes place in two different ways. You may be at a tournament that's using digital balloting through tabroom.com. If so, you'll receive text messages and emails with links to your ballots and directions on where you should go in order to watch and judge the rounds that you are responsible for. If you are using at a tournament with paper debate ballots, those ballots will be distributed by the tab room staff according to the assignments of the judges. If you find that you do not receive a ballot, either digitally or a physical paper ballot, please check in with the tab room to make sure that no judges need to be reassigned. If they do, please make yourself available to the tab room to take one of these reassigned ballots. Next, you're going to head to the room of competition. These rooms should be empty until you arrive, but once you arrive, please invite the debate competitors for the first flight into the round to get set up. While they're setting up, feel free to set yourself up and to make sure the space is conducive for debating. If you have any questions finding your room, or you find that the room is not an acceptable area for debate, please notify the tab room. Next, you're going to want to check to make sure that you have the correct competitors. Sometimes debaters misread their postings, or they show up to rounds early or late. Please double check that the names of the students present in round are the same as the ones on the ballot. If you find a discrepancy between the students that are in round and the ones that are on your ballot, please do not start the round before checking with tab. Finally, public forum has what is called the coin toss. This is a unique aspect of public forum debate, and it can be done in two different ways. There may be a digital coin toss that is done by tabroom.com, where the computer will assign either heads or tails to each competitor and tell them that they have won or lost the toss. If so, this process is completely automated and requires no additional work on your behalf, and your ballot should be updated once the students have made their decisions. If you're doing a physical coin toss, you will flip a coin, have each team identify a side. The winner of the coin toss gets to choose either their speaking position, first or second, or the side they wish to represent, the pro or the con. The other team gets the other choice. Now that you're all set up to debate, debaters may ask you your debating paradigm. If you're asked your judging paradigm, that just means what is your philosophy for judging? What are some of the things that you like to see in round? If you've been judging a lot before, you probably have some idea of the things that you like to see in round. If this is your first time or you're an inexperienced judge, Feel free to tell the competitors that you're still new to judging, and you're judging based on their communication of their ideas and the logic of their arguments. Most students will be able to adapt to their presentation to fit your needs as a judge. During the round, you'll notice that each team has equal speaking time. Each debate competitor speaks twice in the round and participates in a couple of different crossfire periods. Depending on the results of the coin toss, either side, the pro or the con, could be speaking first. Please make sure that you are filling out the correct portion of your ballot for the speakers that are speaking. During the round, you should take notes. If you're comfortable with the debate style of flowing, feel free to flow the round. This is a great way to keep track of the arguments. If you're unfamiliar with flowing or not confident in your ability to follow the round on a debate flow, you should take some sort of notes so that you can keep track of the arguments that each team is presenting. While the round is going, you should be following the arguments, making note not just of the points that debaters are making for their own side, but also the attacks they make against their opponent's case. You should also write feedback for the competitors. This feedback should be directed at their cases, their ideas, and the content of the debate. Please do not make comments outside of the scope of the debate, such as a student's clothing or dress. During the debate, you should not for any reason interrupt the debate. Unless you're using your cell phone for a timer or to keep your digital ballot, you should not be using your cell phone. Students are very cognizant of what their judge is doing during the round, and if they feel like you're not paying attention to the round, that can negatively affect their performance. You also don't need to spend time fact-checking during the round. If you find some evidence to be questionable or it just doesn't quite make sense to you, please include that on the ballot, as that's very valuable feedback for debaters. During the round, each team has an equal amount of opportunities to speak. They'll alternate speeches, and after every 2 speeches, there will be a crossfire period. We're going to go through and discuss each one of these different types of speech in the order that you will encounter them during the round. These times should also be available to you on the ballots. To start, we start the round with the first constructive speeches from each team. These speeches are 4 minutes in length, and they are delivered by the first speaker on each team. During this time, they will be delivering what's called their case. These are the main arguments that they are making throughout the round. While you're listening to this, you should look for clear argumentation, rehearsed reading, some eye contact, and a logical development of their arguments. After the first 2 constructive speeches, we'll have a period of crossfire. You'll notice that these crossfire time periods happen after every 2 speeches. The crossfire is a back and forth question and answer between both teams. After the first constructive, you will see the first speakers engage in crossfire. After the second constructive speech, the second speakers will engage in crossfire. After the summary speeches, all speakers engage in what is called a grand crossfire, 3 minutes of back and forth. During this time period, students should be asking and answering questions. They should advance their own ideas. They may take the opportunity to attack their opponent's ideas, and they should be clarifying the debate. These periods should be limited to 3 minutes of question and answer, and students should not be making long speeches that develop their arguments. The second constructive speeches, after our first crossfire, are also 4 minutes in length. These are delivered by the second speakers on each team and are often referred to as a rebuttal speech. They're followed by another 3-minute crossfire period. During these speeches, you should be looking for good signposting, meaning debaters should tell you which argument they are addressing and when they are addressing them. You should also be looking for clear attacks and defenses if that's appropriate for the speech. Here we also want to be looking for dropped arguments or arguments that don't get responses. Those might come up later in the debate and have a large impact. Summary speeches begin the second half of the debate. They're 3 minutes in length, and they will be once again delivered by the first speaker from each one of the teams. A summary speech is a clarifying speech intended to summarize the round. They don't present new arguments in the summary speech, but they may be bringing up new evidence, either as an attack or a defense of their own case or their opponent's case. Summary speeches are followed by grand crossfire. In a summary speech, you should be looking for good signposting, clear attacks and defenses, and again be watching for those dropped arguments and extended arguments. Finally, the last speeches are called final focus speeches. These are 2 minutes in length and they are delivered by the second speaker. This is a final argumentative push where students get to speak to the judge one final time. There are no new arguments presented in these speeches. However, they may bring in new evidence. This is also sometimes called a voter speech because teams will give you and debaters will give you reasons to vote for or choose them as the winner. You should look for some clear voters, a discussion of drop points, and some final impacts. Remember, this is the last chance for each team to present their case and try to convince you, the judge, that they've won the round. Also during the round, each team gets a total of 3 minutes of prep time. This can be used before any of their speeches, but you'll typically see it used before their second constructive or rebuttal speeches, their summary speeches, or their final focus. Prep time does not have to be used all in one chunk, and teams will oftentimes take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or a minute of prep time and disperse it throughout the round. Sometimes students will also opt to take what is called running prep. That means they're turning on their prep timer and they're just going to use it until either they run out of time or they finish. While teams are taking prep time, you should work on your ballot, write feedback to the debaters, and also keep track of the time of their prep. While both teams should be timing their own prep and each other's, you are ultimately responsible for tracking how much time each team uses. Teams do not have to use the full 3 minutes, but they cannot use any more than that 3 minutes. During prep time, either team can be prepping. During prep time, you should not talk to the debaters, and you should not leave the room. Once the debaters have finished their debate, we come to the decision. The decision is your opportunity as the judge to come up with who won, who did a better job convincing you of their argumentation, their logics, and communicating their ideas to you. There are a couple of different parts of the ballot that come into the decision. First, we have points. Often referred to as speaker points, the points should encapsulate not just how well students spoke, but also how well they presented their ideas, how logical they were, and how developed their arguments were. As a result, the team that wins the debate should end up with more points. We also then have the reason for the decision. This is just an explanation of why you chose that team to win. This should be a discussion about the arguments that they presented, which ones you found the most compelling, and why you found those arguments to be compelling. Finally, when you're done writing your reason for decision and your feedback, you're going to submit or return the ballot. If you are doing digital balloting, you're going to submit that ballot through tabroom.com. If you're doing physical and paper balloting, you'll return that to the same place where you picked it up. This concludes our discussion on judging public forum debate. If you have any questions about the judging responsibilities or the process of judging, feel free to reach out to your head coach or the tab room when you are at tournament. The tab room is responsible for addressing any concerns or questions that you may have throughout the tournament. Once again, thank you for judging debate this year, and I hope that this helps you feel a little bit more comfortable in your role as a public forum judge.